Hello everyone, good afternoon. Today we're gonna talk about the pedagogy of new normal in education, wherein we were discussing about the migrating of face-to-face to a remote learning. Before that, I'm gonna give you a short background about the new normal in education. We all know that this unexpected pandemic has a huge impact in our lives, not only as a student, but also for all the people around the world. This unexpected event give a goosebump to all of us. I remember when we are on a face-to-face class, wherein they suddenly declared the cancellation of class because of the news that the virus came from the China has already in our country. So definitely one of the biggest impact in this global crisis is on the education, which affecting the delivery of instruction and teaching modalities. Because of this unexpected crisis, the government declared of suspension of classes and cancellation of upcoming activities that they plan for the educational process. Due to the threat of this pandemic, educational institutions are now facing challenges on how can education must continue while they are making sure the safety precautionary measures that will be taken into consideration for the well-being of the student and the teachers. The Department of Education took this opportunity to be more inclusive in utilizing other modes of learning which are responsive, it is timely and relevant for this kind of situation. So with the vision of providing a significant education for the learners and to ensure the continuity of the education, the Department of Education put an alternative delivery mode known as the DepEd Common that it's said to be useful and very substantial for this time of pandemic, since most of our students or the learners has exposed in using gadgets and internet. Government come up with the plan of putting this online learning delivery platform which primarily developed for the public and private learners. This online platform is learning vehicles for the student to continue the study without compromising their health and their safety. By using of smartphone and personal computer, the student must be on directed to the site wherein it is served to be the classroom that provides lesson and work activity that are appropriate for their grade levels. Then, some other school, they have implemented a blended learning such as remote teaching or the modular learning to cater this need for this present situation. So it is not easy to have this mode of learning, but to continue the learning of the student and to catch up with the lesson, they come up with this so they can deliver the learning that the student needed. Before we proceed to the next reporters, here are some tips on how the teacher help their student on how to adjust in the new normal education. First thing, the teachers need to utilize alternative platform and games wherein they are showing videos, presentable and very interactive presentation. Give them many games that will make the learning exciting. The second one is facilitate discussion and collaboration. The teacher needs to engage student in a group discussion to build collaboration and enhance the communication skill of the student. The third one is to make time for social emotional learning. This will help the student feel supported by their learning environment and build skill to cope up, heal, and thrive. The next one is the available and flexible. As a teacher, we need to be patient in order to accommodate all the shortness and understand that some students have some difficulties in their life. That's why we need to show them that we are willing to understand their situation. And the last one, prioritize your own self-care. It will help us to keep on top and ready to handle any challenges that come up during this difficult time.
A pleasant afternoon to each and everyone. Today, I'm assigned to discuss the curricular approach in the time of COVID-19. The table I'm going to discuss presents the curricular approach in the time of COVID-19 for schools administrators, teachers, and students. As we go to the table now, there is place of learning there. For face-to-face, as we all know, face-to-face is gathered at school, while the online distance education and the modular is done at home. Next is the driver of learning. For face-to-face, it is teacher-driven because the teacher will be the one who teach the students, will be the one who demonstrate the lessons in front of class, in front of them. While the online distance education is a collaboration of teacher, learner, parents, and guardians. Also in modular because bakit? Kasi sa online kailangan na gabayan ng mga magulang kanilang kanilang mga anak para sa ganun mapagbutihin nila yung pag-aaral nila. Ganun din naman sa modular, kailangan na matutukan ng mga magulang to kasi meron mga magulang na hindi nagtatrabaho pero kahit ganun ay napakahalaga ng mga magulang sa dalawa na to, sa online, distant, and modular. Kaya sasabi na collaboration ng teacher, learner, at ng parents. Next is the learning engagement. For face-to-face, it is teacher plan because the teacher plan is the teacher's plan must have good strategy na hindi dapat na hayaan niya yung mga estudyante niya na makatulog easily or mag-get bored agad. Kasi nga, yung teacher's plan dapat iniisip niya kung ano yung makakabuti sa mga estudyante niya, kung ano yung magkakaroon ng engagement. Yun nga yun sa face-to-face. While naman sa online distance education, there are two, synchronous and asynchronous activities. First is the synchronous. Synchronous is online. Synchronous yung ginagawa natin. Nagtatanong si teacher, nagre-report tayo sa online. And asynchronous naman, there is activities. The teacher can give activities, quizzes, projects that can answer in even offline. Next is the modular. Module is not interactive for learning engagement because there is no teacher there. There is no classmate there. It is self-learn. Next is the purpose of learning. For face-to-face is the mastery of competencies. Master of competencies, when you can apply what you know, not just learn it, but apply it. So, napakahalaga nito sa face-to-face. Hindi lang dapat na ririnig ng mga estudyante yung mga lessons. Dapat na apply din nila ito sa kanilang mga pag-aaral. Dapat din sa real life, mas maganda, di ba? So, yun yung sa face-to-face. Dapat mastery of competencies, dapat mapagana nila ito. Tapos naman sa online distance education, there is transversal skills. Transversal skills like critical thinking, interpersonal, intrapersonal, media and information literacy. Napansin natin sa online distance education ay may mga tanong mga teacher natin na kailangan natin ng kasagutan. Doon nagagamit yung critical thinking natin. Doon natin nasasana yung mga mapanuring pag-iisip natin. Ganun din naman sa mga fake news. Kulare, nagbigay si teacher ng nagbigay ng di totoo. Kakaroon tayo ng literacy skills doon. Mga media and information literacy skills doon. Yun yung mga transversal skills na makukuha natin o yung purpose ng learning para sa online education. And so also sa modular, pareho lang sila ng face-to-face. There is mastery of competencies. Why? Because meron pinapagawa yung mga teachers na katulad, kaya magbibigay sila ng module, ay kailangan nila ito na hindi lang nila babasa to. Meron silang pinapagawa doon ng mga activities, meron silang pinapagawa doon na kailangan ng kasama yung magulang. Yun yung sa master of competencies, dapat na-apply din nila ito. Next is the learner self-management. For face-to-face, it's teacher-directed. Basically, kasi nga, yung face-to-face, yung teacher ang bahala na mag-guide. He will be the one discuss the skill set of subject or by giving lecture, demonstration, or instruction in front of the class. And while the online education, it is learner-directed naman. Kasi nga, sa online, yung learner yung bahala sa kanyang pagkatuto. Kaya nga on-cam tayo kasi nga, para malaman ng teacher kung nakikinig ba tayo. Yun yung sa learner-directed. Kaya dapat, yung learner dapat magbutihin niya yung pag-aaral niya. Huwag niyang biru-biruin. Yun yung sa online distance education. As sa module naman, basically teacher-directed kasi nga, yung teacher nagbibigay ng mga module na papagawa. Sila yung nagmamanage kung saan na ba lesson sila, saan na ba sila aralin, saan na ba sila, ano na ba silang week, yun yung sa modular. Sa content of learning naman, sa face-to-face, there is curriculum. Curriculum is the overall content or the course. Basically, ito yung sinusunod sa face-to-face. Ito yung matagal natin ginagawa dati. Meron tayong sinusunod para sa ganun ma-aim natin yung knowledge na kailangan natin matutunan sa isang year, sa isang grade, sa isang SEM. Yun naman sa online education, it is negotiated because dapat the teacher must give also the control, or the teacher must give students also the greatership, ownership of control or authority of learning experience of students. Kailangan na bigyan din sila ng pagkakataon para sila rin matuto. Hindi lang yung mga plano ng mga teacher, kundi yung mga estudyante din, yung mga malaman natin yung mga gusto nila. Gusto nilang magpalaro, kaya nga nagpapa-report yung mga teachers natin. Yun is sa content of learning. It is negotiated para sa online distance education. While naman sa curriculum-based module, basically, modular. Kasi nga, may sinusunod silang mga, kung yung sa government, katulad din ng sa lahat ng schools. Next naman is schedule. Sa face-to-face, may time allotment. Sa online distance education, F2F or face-to-face, off-screen, project-based na home routines. And sa modular, module-based naman. And lastly, sa instructional materials. For face-to-face, it is school-based. Yung school-based, meron silang mga textbooks, mga aralin, mga pinapaprint, di ba? Meron tayong pinapagawa sa face-to-face na, meron tayong kailangan na dalin na yun o kailangan na gamitin. Yun yung mga ginagamit natin sa instructional materials sa face-to-face na para lalo tayong matuto. While naman sa online distance education, sa bahay ka lang, kung ano yung makukuha mo, kunwari gagawa ka ng isang reviewer, lalagay mo yun para hindi mo makalimutan yun. Uulit-ulitin mo yun, didikit mo sa dingding mo, di ba? Yun naman yung sa online distance education, sa online class. Yung sa home environment mo, kung ano yung makikita mo sa home mo. Tapos lastly, sa modular, basically sa modules to. Yung mga modules na pinapagawa, yun yung instructional materials. Yun lang yung sa table na to, yun yung mga approach sa time of COVID-19. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Sana may natutunan kayo.
Good day, I am Joyce Manalili, and today I will discuss the pedagogy of the new normal frame. This figure represents the direction towards a better normal in education. There are three categories here: the old normal, the new normal, and the better normal. Here, in old normal, there is face-to-face delivery as default. This refers to a learning delivery modality where the student and the teachers are both physically present in the classroom, and there are opportunities for active engagement, immediate feedback, and the social-emotional development of learners. It uses the competency-based curriculum, a curriculum that emphasizes the complex outcomes of a learning process. Example is that knowledge, skills, and attitudes to be applied by learners, rather than mainly focusing on what learners are expected to learn about in terms of traditionally defined subject content. In principle, such as a curriculum is learner-centered and adaptive to the changing needs of students, teachers, and society. It implies that learning activities and environments are chosen so that learners can acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to the situation they encounter in everyday life. Competency-based curriculum are usually designed around the set of key components, competencies that can be cross-curricular and subject-bound. Competency-based curriculum, or CBC, is an educational system that puts emphasis on learners' unique talent and abilities rather than focusing wholly on academics and exam performances. Here, there are disruption-prone. What is disruption? Disruption is a sudden break or interruption. Disruptive education is therefore that which intends to break the established model to improve existing one. The disruption-prone, pwedeng ma-encounter to ng mga bata pag nagpupunta sila sa school face-to-face is that yung mga disaster like yung mga bagyo, pwede ring earthquake, yung mga ganyan. Sa new normal naman, punta naman tayo sa new normal. Sa flexible learning option, it includes diverse learning modalities and interventions that are responsive to the needs, context, circumstances, and diversity of the learners. It may include but limited or residential or face-to-face learning, distance learning, online learning, and blended learning. A flexible learning option is an educational setting that supports students at risk or already designed for education. Student at risk disengagement should be attending flexible learning option only in instances where their needs are not able to met in mainstream school and should only be a short-term option. And the disruption response, dito naman ang disruption response naman, ito yung problema na na-encounter dahil sa pandemic. Hindi naman tayo makapunta sa school, kaya ang ginagawa is through blended learning. It can be a synchronous and asynchronous class. Dito naman sa better normal, seamless education refers to learning where boundaries between educational levels dissolve. For example, the transition between high school and college is becoming less distinct. Learn more in academic, economic, and technological trends affecting distance education. Seamless learning is a learning notion that emphasizes the bridging of different learning efforts across a variety of learning settings such as formal and informal learning, individual and social learning, and learning in physical and digital. Learners must be encultured into becoming seamless learners. Successful implementation of seamless learning implies motivated instructors, or teachers. It depends on teachers' ability to elicit what students have learned outside of the professional or educational setting and what they have learned informally, and to connect the learning to formal. Here they use the learning playlist, learner-driven curriculum. What is it? Learner-driven approach have been seen as ways of addressing the challenges of sustainability education, such as uncertainty and complexity of the sustainability issue, as well as the need for interdisciplinary in solving them. Although there are multiple perspectives on sustainability and its education, these originate from environment education, which solves environmental issues. So, in learner-centered pedagogy, the learner is the most important when deciding on the learning and teaching activities, whereas driven can be defined as propelled or motivated by something. Thus, learner-driven pedagogy, the learner take an active role in which they propel their own learning. And then they encounter the disruption proof. This was disrupted by disaster in the becoming decades. Every child has the right to a quality education, yet across the region, many children are unable to realize the right due to the impact of this disaster. Educational inequalities are made worse because of school being damaged or destroyed due to poor site selection, design, or construction. School being used of evacuation centers, and because disaster risk reduction policies are not being adequate resourced or prioritized through different levels of government and to the community. And that's my topic. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, everyone. I am Eliza Kennedy Gomez, the next presenter. So we will tackle about now the transitioning to the new normal in education by Kamala Depar in 2020. So the first one is shift of learning space, from public space to personal space. What does it mean? It means that instead of going to school and university premises to learn, learning now happens at home with our personal space, like what we do right now on online class, right? So the transition of space is happening is one important, because learning cannot be done through our personal devices without having to go somewhere physical. Along with that comes a shift in our social interactions from physical to virtual. We still interact with the learning community directly. We still exchange conversation with our classmates, teachers, and lecturers. We are not cut off from the learning community. We have learning shifted from our community space. And what that does means a shifting of learning space. So next is the shift of delivery or the shift of teaching methods. So from one size fits to all individual and differentiated learning in a typical class, all students will be taught the same. They will listen to the same lecture, to the same activities in class, and complete the same homework assignments. At the end of the semesters, all the students will sit for the same exam and will be evaluated based on the same method. Individualized and differentiated means teaching each student uniquely to meet unique needs and paces. The academic goals may remain the same for a group of students, but individual students can progress through the curriculum at different speeds and use different resources based on their own particular learning needs. We all know that some students might learn better through watching videos, while some need to watch a video need to read a textbook. Each student is unique in his, her, or her way of learning, especially now when learning takes place in personal spaces. So in our online class, all students has a unique way of learning. Accessibility varies from household to household, and distributing learning resources can be challenging for us, for our as educators. Therefore, educators now think to design lessons that's all